Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
We are
Edmonson County's #1 source for local news and information.
Tonight's entertainment.
EdmonsonVoice.com.
I almost forgot how entertaining this could be.
With Jamie Carnes and Darren Doyle.
We don't need no thinking podcast.
And now, here's Jamie and Double D.
It is the Friday show on Edmonson Voice. I'm your co-host, Darren Doyle, along with, you know him, you love him, Jamie Carnes.
glad to be here, Darren.
It's great to have you here, buddy. The Friday show is something brand new that we're starting here, obviously. Brought to you by Alfred's Pharmacy and Drive-Thru, located in the Main Street Center. Call 270-597-1044. You can find them on Facebook or visit alfredsrx.com. So
This is a little bit different look than we're used to seeing here. We're not normally facing each other, so that's a different thing.
that's correct. And I've had several people ask me, well, what's it going to be about? What are you guys going to talk about? Well, that's kind of the beauty of all of it, because you don't really know what we're going to talk about.
It's all the stuff that we really want to talk about during ball games, but we can't.
That's it. That's exactly right. It's the stuff that we want to talk about, but that we don't have time to talk about. And of course, it's great when you start a show and your microphone stand is already jacked up. But no, you're exactly right, because one of the reasons people like to watch us on our ball games is because of kind of the other stuff that we talk about, that we insert here and there, that most ball game guys don't. They don't put that stuff in.
It's just the random things.
Right. It's the random things, and
Well, at least we're going to say that's what people like about us anyway.
whatever works. But no, you are right. The random things, and we've done this now together for 7 years, I think.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've completed. I think this past year was our 7th year of doing ball games.
It doesn't
together.
seem like that, but I guess so.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the random things that we talk about a lot are music, movies, pop culture. We throw all these references in there that we know the kids don't get, but their parents, hopefully, they do.
Right.
Probably their grandparents now, but
A lot of them are.
yeah, well, so I mean, that's kind of part of it, and so we decided that it would be fun to dedicate an hour show and talk about the stuff that we don't talk about when we're having ball games. So we'll need your suggestions. You folks that are watching.
Input is welcome. I appreciate it.
And we're going to talk about that stuff, as the show goes on and as we get into more episodes. And Jamie, you and I were talking before, we went on the air about, the brand new show, and it'll kind of find its own path. We've got kind of an outline that we want to follow, at least for part of it. But at the end of the day, or at the end of the show, it will just kind of, I don't know, go wherever it's going.
Right.
So that's kind of what our plan is for the show. We would like to do it every Friday, but we both have other responsibilities that we have in our jobs that obviously we have to work around some things. And then when ball season starts, we may have to. Well, we obviously will have to adjust that again. But we hope to have it for you every Friday. So happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
And
July 7th.
yes. And as far as summertime is concerned, I can probably speak for you. You as a member of the Board of Education, working there for many years, being part of our school system. Things slow down quite a bit during the summer. They do slow down for me here at the Edmonson Voice as far as the news is concerned. I know it's a little bit odd maybe to some people, but there's just not as much going on in the summer. The programs, there's not as many programs going on. Obviously, we're out of school, so all the school stuff is not happening.
Traffic slows down a lot in the mornings.
It does. You're not behind 11 school buses,
Right.
on your way to work. What do people do at the Board of Education office during the summer?
We have longer contracts than some of the other employees in district. And, for instance, there's always somebody like planning for budgets, planning the upcoming school year, working on calendar issues, doing things like that, payroll, whatever. But there's always things like that happening. There are always things like that happening at the board office.
Well, I mean, obviously the whole thing just doesn't shut off when the kids are out of school. I mean,
Right.
Obviously, that we know that. But you specifically, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I think it's important for people to know, you specifically, are kind of behind the scenes and oversee a lot of some really good programs that we have. Family Resource, Youth Services, Youth Services Center, those programs there. So like Cram the Cruiser,
Right.
that's something that's coming up. When is that actually?
That is July 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And that'll be...
That's always a big deal.
Yes.
So obviously that's something that you guys plan, throughout the year, and, it's about crunch time for that. You also got the Back to School Bash, coming up.
Right.
I don't mean to put you on the spot with the dates if you don't know them right off the top of your head, but,
I would have to look that one up, but
that's
it's
fine.
in early August, that one is,
Okay.
I think.
So, again, just because school is out, obviously the regular program, the regular schedule of school is quite different, but there's still plenty of stuff going on, at least the planning,
Yes.
and the organization of
And of course, teachers across the district, they spend, a lot of them spend their summers in summer classes because they're working on master's degrees or getting changing rank. So, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes in a lot of different ways, but the public just doesn't see a lot of that until it gets ready to start open the doors of school up back again.
Right. So with summer, now have you guys gone anywhere on vacation? Do you got any summer
We haven't. We're planning
Vegas?
to take a little trip, I think, next week somewhere.
somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, well you don't
Thinking about going down to.
So you don't have it planned yet.
Well, we do.
Okay,
We do,
okay,
but
okay.
we just hadn't. We have some specifics, but not all the specifics. But plan to go down to Georgia for a little while, maybe around the Stone Mountain area.
Gotcha. Now, are you going to be doing any flying? While you
Not while I'm down there. No.
Okay.
Unless something happens, but I don't think my brother's flying right now. But unless we were to stop by there and he decides to go flying or something.
Gotcha.
Not me.
Speaking of flying, now we just talked about Alfred's Pharmacy being a sponsor of the Friday show here on the Edmonson Voice. They just had this big hootenanny out there where they the grand reopening. Okay, Alfred's Pharmacy did this grand reopening, and they've remodeled their store, and they got all kinds of crazy, awesome things going on in their pharmacy. And man, they gave away all this stuff at this event that they had back a few weeks ago. And of course, the big prize was they gave away a Caribbean cruise, all expenses paid. The whole meal deal.
Very nice.
They gave away all kinds of stuff, and one of the things that they gave away was a free plane ride across the county.
I saw that on the flyers,
Yeah.
and I had to go back in and ask one day, who's giving the plane ride?
Right, because it's not Casey.
You're right. It's not me.
Right. And so, yeah, the COO, Bill Ferris, who works there with Alfred's Pharmacy Group, he turns out he's a pilot, and that was one of the things that they offered. I thought that was really cool because, you and I went flying. I guess it's been over a year now.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things that we did was fly over the house. You
Yep.
know, and we could see that. And I just came back from vacation. We did a lot of traveling. Went out west, and some of the most amazing stuff I'd ever seen in my entire life. And that would take up 2 shows if I got into all that. So I'm not going to get into all that, but we were sitting beside a lady on one of the flights that we had. We were sitting beside a lady who was from Italy, and she lived in Salt Lake City, but she was originally from Italy, and she was returning from Italy, actually. And this was the last leg of her flight coming into her town. And as we were getting close to the airport, she actually looked out the window and she said, "Look, that is actually my house. We're flying over my neighborhood right now." And, we laughed and we said, "Oh, that's really cool." And she said, not many people get to fly over their house. And I said, "Well, I've got a friend of mine back at home. His name's Jamie Carnes. you may have heard of him.
That's why my ears were burning that day.
Maybe. But anyway, that was pretty cool stuff. And, so, you said you're going on a trip, and I just wondered if you were planning on doing any flying.
No, one of these, we're going to plan some of those little outings. Most of them will be day trips unless we decide to just, stay overnight somewhere. But I'm going to start getting creative about some little trips we're going to try to take in the plane. And
very nice. Because, Jamie, not everybody can just take off in a plane.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
So, and speaking of planes, I found this. Let me look this up. So I was looking. I found this on the New York Post, and the top 10. This is a top 10. This is from last year, but it's the top 10 catches from the TSA, the most unusual finds at airport security checkpoints. Okay, the top 10.
There's no telling where this is going.
It's all family friendly. I will say that, and because I had to read it 2 or 3 times. But
yes,
the TSA's top 10. So starting at number 10. So a group of people were busted at the Los Angeles International Airport on October 19th for trying to pass off narcotics as candy. Authorities found a total of 12,000 fentanyl pills hidden inside Sweet Tarts, Skittles, and Whoppers candy packages.
I was about to say, what, they have Pez dispensers or something?
Whoppers candy packages. Upon being discovered, the story says, the suspect fled the scene but was later identified. An investigation is reportedly ongoing. So, 12,000 fentanyl pills in candy wrappers.
That's a lot of candy.
Now, obviously we're laughing about it, now, but man, that's some serious bullcrap.
That's some trafficking right there.
Okay, here's another number 9. Hair scrunchies. In Idaho, Boise Airport, hair scrunchies, the kind of the...
Yeah, hold your ponytail or whatever. Your man bun.
They had figured... Not mine, but... They had figured out a way, somebody had figured out a way to cut these open and just fill them with all kinds of drugs.
Hair scrunchie.
Wearing them in ponytails, and
okay.
It doesn't say how they were how they were found, but so that was number 9. Number 8, they're not numbered here; they're just listed. So I'm trying to think of the numbers as I'm going. So in November, somebody tried to smuggle a plastic wrapped handgun inside a whole uncooked chicken. A whole uncooked chicken. Stuck a gun, right in the stuffing hole.
That's not stovetop
But
stuffing.
I mean, what I'm saying is you're sitting there at the house. You're like, man, I need to get this gun on a plane. How would I do it? I got it.
A chicken.
An uncooked chicken. Let's stick this thing in the butt of this uncooked chicken.
They're not going to see it there.
So there's that. So speaking of guns, obviously guns are big. People are trying to smuggle guns.
Metallic, usually, depending on what brand you're talking about.
Here's a Rhode Island traveler who was busted with a peanut butter camouflaged firearm at New York's JFK International Airport in December. He had reportedly tried to smuggle a disassembled .22 caliber semi-automatic handgun through 2 jars of Jif peanut butter.
So
2 jars.
He put the parts of the gun into 2 jars of Jif peanut butter.
Correct. So first of all, let's just say that works. If it works, now you got to dig all your gun parts out of 2 jars of peanut butter to put them together.
Got to be handy with field stripping and reassembly. There.
Obviously. But I mean, I don't know, man. How long it would take you to clean all of the peanut butter off all of the parts of the gun. And it shows a picture here. You guys can't see it on the camera, but it shows a picture of this gun. And it's completely...
there's peanut oil in the thing, so it might not hurt the gun too badly, but, it would be a mess to clean up.
So there's that. So in a lesser mess, but pretty, I don't even know what the word is. I guess creative. A PlayStation console went through the X-ray at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, and the fan was in there, but the circuitry was missing, but there was a gun inside. So they took the parts out
PlayStation.
PlayStation, yeah. They took the parts out of the PlayStation and put the gun in it. Now, Nashville Airport has really upped their game as far as their X-ray is concerned, because most airports you go to, if you have any electronics in a bag, they make you get the electronics out. Laptop. With me, I'm carrying a laptop. I've got multiple cameras and lenses, okay? So it's a real pain in the butt for me to go through this, because I have to take all this crap out, and it's obviously put in these bags, very specifically. And so I get this, my backpack up here with a computer in it and 4 cameras and all this other jazz. And I asked this guy, I said, man, do I have to take all this out? He goes, no, you don't have to take any of it out. I said, since when? And he goes, well, we got some great X-ray machines. I said, okay. So I drop it on the thing. It goes through the thing. And I can see on the screen my backpack. This dude is looking at it, and he's flipping the angle around and all this kind of stuff. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
You can see everything in that bag. My charging cords, I had some chewing gum in there. You could tell what all this stuff was.
Makes you wonder what else they've got that we don't know about.
Exactly.
And see. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I'm sitting here thinking, how do you think you're going to get a gun on a plane? I mean, I guess if you're just desperate.
You could apply for being an air marshal, I suppose. Do it more easily that way.
I suppose, but I mean, a PlayStation? Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, same deal. God did the same thing with almost the same thing. And I think this is number 6. In November, Virginia's Richmond International Airport, a TSA officer thought something was awry after spotting what appeared to be a knife inside the flyer's carry-on luggage, but when officers searched the bag, they couldn't find the weapon. At long last, officials realized that the knife was in the computer. They disassembled the machine and discovered a double-edged blade taped to the computer's inner circuitry. So you're going to take your laptop apart.
And that's a thin knife.
Yeah, put a knife in the body of a laptop, which is
Had to have that knife.
Okay, so then, this one's called a real gunslinger. TSA officers grew suspicious after a scanner went off while screening a sling-wearing passenger at New York's Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport. They asked the traveler to remove the cast and put it in a bin, or his sling, and he explained it was heavy due to having metal in it. It turned out the sling had a loaded handgun concealed inside, like a James Bond movie weapon.
Well, he ain't lying.
So there's that.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
Because it had metal in it.
Electric guitar case.
Gun-shaped electric guitar.
Wasn't
Maybe?
gun-shaped. It was a regular guitar case, but instead of having guns in it like you would see in a Bonnie and Clyde movie, cattle prods.
Now, that's a new one.
Smuggling cattle prods in electric guitar case.
Those are special cattle prods.
So there's that. But I mean, what are you going to do with the cattle?
I got nothing. I mean, taking them home to your ranch.
I guess. And then number 2, TSA agents learned that money can be a crutch after confiscating a pair of crutches crammed with soiled money at the airport in El Paso, Texas.
Soiled money?
Soiled money. It doesn't say why the money is soiled. It doesn't say how it's soiled.
Is there really any money that isn't soiled when you think about it?
But it was rolled up and stuck in the body of crutches. It doesn't say how much, but. Number 1.
I guess money's not illegal to carry, though, right?
I don't know. I mean, obviously everybody's got to carry some money with them when they travel. I mean, I don't know if there's a limit, or it may just be the fact that they were that they didn't.
Had it hidden in the crutches?
I guess. Maybe you
A
can't.
good place to hide it, I
Well,
guess.
I guess, but I don't.
Don't lay your crutches down.
Maybe you can't hide. But they say you can't hide money, honey.
Can't hide money.
So I don't know. But anyway, so the number one thing, the most explosive discovery occurred in July when
Literally explosive?
Well, we're getting there. The most explosive discovery occurred in July when a Milwaukee TSA official identified a bomb-shaped image on an X-ray. The passenger explained that it was only a replica grenade he had bought for his son while at an air show in Oshkosh.
So this was a Joe Dirt bomb.
Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the checkpoint where they verified that the explosive was inert. The grenade was confiscated and the passenger was cited.
Well, at least it wasn't a real Joe Dirt bomb.
Right, but I mean, obviously it's harmless. It's a fake hand grenade. But at the same time, man, you really got to be pretty stupid to think that you're going to be able to get that home.
Yeah, there's not much chance you're going to get any of that through, except for maybe the money. I don't know about the money, but that's odd.
So, I mean, I have checked a firearm at the airport before. It's a huge pain in the butt.
Oh, yeah.
It's by design.
As Howard White used to say, pain in the rearmost parts.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason they don't want you traveling, with firearms. I've obviously never tried to take one on a plane, but when you check a firearm at the airport, it's a big pain. You got to go through a whole other, you have to lock it in a certain way. It's got to have 2 locks on it, and you have to go to this whole other different area to make sure that it's, blah blah blah.
There's that whole thing about depressurization if it goes off in the cabin at 35,000 feet.
All that kind of stuff. It's not good. So anyway, that's speaking of flying, that's the top 10 things that were found in 2022 at airports. So now, moving along, that was, as I said, that was from the New York Post. And as someone who writes headlines, and one of the things I despise, I hate it so bad, is clickbait headlines. I don't do it. I don't do it at the Edmonson Voice. The headline is what it is. Okay.
Right.
I want you to read the headline and say, I know exactly what this story is going to be about. So every morning, I'm an Apple News guy. I get on the Apple News feed and I've got all my, my news sources and all this. And the good and bad thing about Apple News is that you never know what news source that you're going to see in that feed. Now, there are some, I'll just tell you, that I've blocked. I do not want to see their garbage. I don't want to see their headlines. So,
That's a lot of it anymore for me.
Pretty much. But there's a lot of, some of these I read, some of these I didn't. And I have a big problem with when we publish a story, someone sees the headline and then they start making comments about the headline and they haven't read the story. They think they know, just based on the headline, they think they know what it is. And so,
don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. But in this case, this is just from this morning. Some of these are weird. Some of these are wacky. But the first one that I came across, I'm like, well, and I realize this is not, they're probably not trying to reach me. I would hope not by this, but this is an article that was published in Essence magazine.
They do have an audience.
They do?
They're trying to reach, but it's not you.
The name of the article is The Ultimate Guide to Breastfeeding for Black Moms.
I could say that I probably wouldn't look at that article.
Now,
a
my
whole
question is there a different set of circumstances based on your race on how you breastfeed? I wouldn't think so.
I don't know that I'm qualified to answer that.
Well, I'm definitely not. But as I'm reading through the headlines, I'm like, first of all, so I did. I clicked on it. I'm like, well, I gotta find out. There's nothing in this story. Excuse me. There's nothing in this story. Well, obviously, I'm not a black mom. Okay, so I'm not going to relate. So I'm just like, okay, well, at what point do you say, you know what, I need to write? We need a guide out here for black moms to breastfeed. I'm just would you do it for Asian moms? For Indian moms? I don't think there's any.
I don't know. I don't know what the determining factor would be.
Because I'm thinking all the parts still work the same, don't they? I would assume.
That's what I'm thinking. But again, that's not my cup of tea.
Okay,
so
well,
I'm
right.
I'm not qualified to comment.
So let's we'll change the subject before we get too deep in.
How about those Reds?
Yeah, they're on fire, baby. The Reds are on fire. So, and now I do want to say this. One of the things about the Friday show, we don't want to really tackle into things that are too controversial. We don't want to do that. There's no sense in it. There's plenty of stuff that we can find entertainment with.
Plenty of trouble we can get into otherwise.
Absolutely. But again, there's some of this stuff that just jumps out at you, and it's like, okay, what the heck is this? Now, here's a crazy story. This is from the Wichita Eagle, and I read this morning. This was written by Brooke Badinger, or Badinger. I apologize if I don't have the pronunciation 100% correct. A bee attack victim. There's nothing funny about this. A woman was stung hundreds of times by a massive colony of bees that lived inside the walls of her Southern California home. Hundreds of times. She was 74 years old.
It didn't kill her?
Did not kill her. They saved her.
That's a tough old lady.
Okay. A neighbor described seeing a cloud of bees swarming this lady in her driveway of her Murrieta home about 60 miles north of San Diego on June 29th, according to NBC Los Angeles. If you can imagine a visible cloud, we were guessing in the neighborhood of 10,000 bees, neighbor Chuck Wing told the news station. She had no ability to cope with the ferocity of the attack. It just got worse and worse and worse, and when she got on the ground, it became savage.
I don't even like to think about that. I mean, you've gotten surprised by a yellow jacket nest.
Of course.
You know how that is when you're mowing grass or you get too close to a tree where they're there and they're coming out of the ground and trying to go up your britches legs, and it's just bad.
But I mean,
10,000 around your head.
74-year-old woman.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be awful.
So, but like I said, she was saved. That's enough to kill a lot of people. So,
be a good job for about a gallon of diesel fuel. Where you find that nest.
Yeah. So
probably not in the house though.
Here's another crazy story. This happened in Wisconsin. This was from Fox News. Louis Cassiano wrote this. This was published on July 4th. 8 roller coaster riders were stuck upside down on a carnival ride Sunday at a Wisconsin festival. The stoppage took place at the Forest County Festival in Crandon, which is approximately 230 miles north of Milwaukee. The riders on the Fireball roller coaster were stuck for at least 3 hours.
Upside down.
Yes. As first responders worked to bring them to safety. And there's some sort of...
Now, was that like a county fair, kind of?
Yeah, so that's what it sounds like. It's some sort of mechanical failure. It doesn't say what, but it was a loop here, and right at the top of the loop, this one section of roller coaster just stuck. 3 hours, dude. Now...
If you're squeamish anyway and you're on there, that would be bad.
I mean, this is like Final Destination stuff, dude. This is like...
somebody with a weak stomach that you just beg to get on there. And they're right there with you.
Yeah.
It'd be throw up, pass out, throw up, pass out.
So...
Wake up, throw up, pass out again.
But hey, let's see here. It says... A festival goer posted an image on Facebook showing the riders hanging upside down, saying that they'd been that way for hours. He said a little girl who was stuck told fire officials to rescue an older man because he was struggling. So still some good in the world.
There's some kind hearts out there.
Yes, and it says local reports said 7 of the 8 riders were children, and everyone involved was taken to the hospital for evaluation.
But safely, though. Everybody
Safely.
got down safely.
Doesn't say, there was any other injuries or any other issues other than being stuck upside down for 3 hours.
Well, that's the thing about you hear about things like that happening, but you don't hear, thankfully, of a lot of fatalities involving rides and those kinds of things. Although I have watched a documentary on a place up in, was it New Jersey, that was really like a water park that was really bad about people getting injured and things like that. But nowadays you don't hear anything like that because there's just so many safety precautions
and so many protocols and all these inspections and obviously things can still happen, but as I joked about the Final Destination stuff, that's just kind of TV. I think for the most part. I mean, obviously there's been things happen, and God forbid something happen else in the future, but
I like roller coasters, but I don't want to get suspended from one upside down for 3 hours.
Upside down, man. I mean, I don't even want to be on one for 3 hours, period. If I'm just sitting in, but if you're upside down.
No, I don't. You'd soon get tired of that, after a few loops on the, whatever it might be, although go someplace like Cedar Point, it's not so bad if you get on a good one.
Well, yes, but nobody wants to be upside down.
No.
All right, so let's move on to the next segment. And this is we'll each Friday show we're going to do a topic. We're going to talk about a topic here in our third segment of the program. And today's topic is tipping, leaving tips.
Tipping.
Okay,
Gratuity.
This has gotten completely out of hand. Tipping, the tipping, the ideology of tipping. Okay, a gratuity. First of all, a gratuity is something I'm going to show you. I'm going to show gratitude.
Right, because you did a good job.
You did a job that is better than expected.
Right.
Now, I am probably a little bit different than most people, including my wife and my kids. They think when you go out to a restaurant that it automatically should be a 15, 20% tip. I totally disagree with that. Now, the argument that they tell me is, Dad, these people are only making like $2 an hour. I understand that. But if you choose to take on a job where you're being paid $2 an hour salary or wage, and the rest of it depends on your tips, you have to work for those tips.
You better be good.
Now, I will say this.
You should be, anyway.
In today's society, I wouldn't last 10 minutes in a restaurant setting with the pressure and the speed.
No, I wouldn't want to do it either.
And, so my hat is off to these people. They're working. The majority of these people are working their butts off.
Yep. And a lot of them do a really good job.
They absolutely do. And they're making a decent pay if you're doing it right. If you're one of those people that hustle. And I know people that are watching, you're like, oh, well, I've worked for so-and-so and it sucked and you don't know what you're talking about and blah, 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 blah. Fair enough. I mean, I don't work in the restaurant business.
Never have either.
I understand that. But
I have eaten at a few restaurants, though.
I've eaten at a lot of restaurants. And just the very basics, okay? When you're seated, they need to come take your drink order pretty quick. Whether you're at a place that's $15 a plate or whether you're at a place that's $50 a plate, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't cost you anything to be nice. Hey, how you doing? Can I take a drink order?
Right.
Okay. If I'm sitting there, and here's a perfect example. We went into a pizza place while we were on vacation, and this was a mom and pop pizza joint. Looked great from the outside. We came in. They seated us immediately. Okay. We got 4 of us in our party. No big deal. We sat. We sat for 15 minutes before anyone came, and even, the restaurant wasn't full. I don't know what they were doing, and the whole bit of, well, we're short-staffed. Hey, we got to get over that stuff. It's up to the restaurant to figure out how to get around that. That's not my problem.
Right.
People don't want to hear, well, I didn't get to that event and cover it because we're short-staffed. I've used that line on people and they don't like it. That's not an excuse. People just want the news, just like people want their drink order and their food.
If you continue to be short-staffed, you're probably going to be short-customered.
Well, I tell you what we did. We got up and left. We did not stay there. And, no one ever said, hey, wait, where are you going? We walked right out. Okay. So, I don't know what the issue was. I don't know if that was a problem for a server or whatever. But anyway, the whole tipping bit. Okay. And so this is kind of what prompted me to put this on today's topic. We were at a souvenir shop. Okay. And there's wherever you're traveling, wherever you're going and visiting, if you're in a tourist town or you're near a tourist attraction, you're going to run into all these, most of them are just junk shops. Okay. They sell junk. Everybody knows, your tchotchkes and your T-shirts and, whatever.
We'll bring Uncle Ned back some
refrigerator magnet.
some thimbles.
Yes, exactly. I do have some souvenir thimbles here somewhere.
We used to try to find Mom's spoons and thimbles.
Spoons, yeah, we talked about that. But so I bought a T-shirt at this place, and I paid 4 times the price of the T-shirts.
Yes.
Of course. Seriously, I think it was like $30 for a T-shirt that was printed off in the back room. They got $2.28 in the whole thing, but whatever. So I purchased the shirt. I pay with a credit card, and as soon as I put the credit card in the machine, she whips the screen around, and the first thing, how much am I supposed to leave for a tip? And they have it set up automatically, 20%.
Yeah, naturally.
And then I think it's 15%, and then 10%, and then custom.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and this girl's looking at me, like,
There's no option for no tip?
There is an option for no tip.
Okay.
Okay. But, this girl is staring me down, like, I'm watching. You better put it down.
Did you ask her exactly what did you do that
Well, see, that's
is
the whole
special
point.
for a tip?
That's the whole point, because that's what I wanted to ask. Because I wanted to say, okay, explain to me, I don't know what you're being paid. I'm sure it's not enough. I'm sure it's not. Okay. Nobody gets
None
paid
of us
enough.
are.
Of course. But here's this little girl working. She's a cashier. And I'm not throwing off because she's a cashier, but she is doing her job and she's being paid. She obviously accepted the terms of her pay when she went to work for that place. Now, she didn't do anything special. I don't even know if she even said, "Hey, how you doing?" I just gave her the T-shirt. She told me how much it was. I gave her the credit card. She whips the screen around, waiting for her tip. I hit no tip, the regular amount. And of course, she whips the thing back around. And
So she gave you that, huh?
yeah. So the receipt comes out, and I bought the T-shirt. And I don't remember if she said, "Have a nice day, kiss my butt," whatever, probably nothing. But anywhere you go now, why all of a sudden are we expected to tip? One of the things that always gets brought up is and me and my kids had this discussion. They have their nails done occasionally. And they talk about they always tip the person who does their nails. I said, well, what if they do a bad job? Do you still leave them a tip? Well, we leave them a little something. I said, why would you do that? You're rewarding basically bad behavior.
Right. Have you ever left a restaurant without leaving a tip?
I have.
Or do you leave a small tip to let them know you didn't forget the tip?
Well, see, I've done both. Most of the time, I do leave something. I mean, unless it's just absolutely horrific,
Right.
I'm going to leave something. But because I do know these people are being paid peanuts. But if you do a crappy job, okay, why do you deserve a 20% tip for anything?
Well, you really shouldn't be expecting a 20% tip.
So we were talking about, they were talking about the people that does their nails, and I said, well, what about your hairdresser? Well, yeah, we leave them a tip. So I don't understand doing that automatically. I understand tipping anybody that does, an over and above job, okay? But my barber, he charges X amount of dollars for a haircut. I understand that's what I'm paying when I get in there. He understands what I'm asking him to do, and he is well aware and happy with the fact that he's charging me that. He knows he's going to get paid that. Now, do I tip him? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Now, why? I like the guy a lot.
I bet
Okay.
that's the way Wavy Skaggs operated.
He did. And, I've got a funny neckline in the back. It grows crooked one way. This guy knows exactly how to fix that when I get a haircut. Not everybody knows how to do that. So every once in a while, hey, man, keep the change on that one. Oh, no, here, let me give you some change. No, thanks. But what he'll do the next time is he may not even charge me the full amount. he'll give me too much change back. No, and he'll insist that I take it. So it's a kind of a give and take thing. But the idea that we've gotten to, that you're at a T-shirt shop and somebody whips the screen around and expects most people, well, I don't want to say most people, but there are a large number of people that they're automatically pressured right now.
Well, yeah, with her standing there patting her foot on the floor, looking at you, and she can see what you're doing.
Of course.
She knows exactly what's going on.
And when she flips the screen back around, she's going to know whether or not she got a tip.
First time I started seeing that kind of thing was at pizza places. And I'd do a carryout order instead of because obviously we can't call in a pizza order and have it delivered down here from anywhere in Bowling Green. So I started seeing that kind of thing on the card machines or whatever at the pizza place. And they would ask you if you wanted to include a tip or have it on the ticket or whatever.
For what? That's
yes,
my question.
I really don't know what.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't, would you be preparing pizza anyway? I mean, what are you doing special for me that you're not doing here for your pay? I don't know, but maybe they aren't paid much per hour at those
see,
places
but here's
either.
the thing, man. That doesn't matter. And I'll give you another example. Had a guy come do some work here in my house a few years ago, and he was installing some flooring. Okay, and I know this guy well, and he did a fantastic job. He ended up moving some furniture that I was supposed to move. I was not able to do it. I was not there one day, and he was, I don't know. Anyway, the schedule got off, and he showed up ready to put some flooring down, and there was furniture in the way. He moved all the furniture, and whenever I got the bill, not only did he not charge me to move the furniture, it was actually a little bit less than what we talked about because he said some areas of the house were easier than he thought it was going to be. Well, I was shocked. Well, I paid him extra, because he did go above and beyond what I had hired him to do. He did exactly as I expected. We had already agreed on that. I said, well, you're going to do this and you'll get paid this. Yes, that's what we're going to do. But then he went above and beyond that. He didn't have to do that. I don't know that I'll have any more flooring put down. We did basically the whole house. So
I bet guys like that's had that happen before, though, too.
Sure.
If they're doing that kind of stuff.
Sure. But, I mean, this is an example of where this guy certainly deserved, extra.
Yeah.
And I felt like I tipped him pretty well. And he was tickled to death. He was like, "Oh man, you don't have to do this." Well, he still does this kind of work, and he still stays busy at it. So it's not, people say, "Well, you're stingy. You don't want to tip anybody." That's not true. That's not true at all. But if you're just doing what is barely expected of you, why do you expect me to give you more than what this price says?
Right, something extra.
So, I mean, do you normally tip a barber?
Most of my life, I have not. Now, I have more recently than other times, but I've got a guy that I know well, and
sure,
he does a good job, and I throw him some extra usually because he does what he's supposed to do and gets me in when he says he will, and everything's taken care of.
And sometimes, man, it's just nice to sit in a barber chair and shoot the bull, and
not worry about having somebody rip your ear off when you're trying to cut behind it.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, I just think our society has gotten to the place where it's just completely accepted that when somebody whips that screen around and says, "Go ahead and hit this 20% tip," it's at some point people have to say no.
Well, it's this accepted idea. It's becoming accepted that you should tip. It's not just a gratuity anymore. It's an expected thing. It's a piece of your salary that you're getting.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. It's called a gratuity for a reason.
Well, that's my whole point.
And I think on the tickets, most of the time, it still says gratuity on there. And some of those folks probably need to learn the definition of that word.
I agree. So, anyway, I don't know. Email us. Tell me your thoughts. editor@edmondsonvoice.com. What do you think about tipping?
Tell us your terrible tipping.
Yeah. Has it gotten out of hand? Because, especially like, and I'm not into these coffee drinks that everybody, I just drink black coffee, and I just, but my kids, they go to these shops occasionally and they'll buy this, and you buy something at the counter. You order a whatever the mocha hoka latte is or whatever they're drinking.
The frothy coffee
Do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around.
with the smile on top of
Yes.
it.
And they do the same thing. They whip the thing around and how much is your tip? And I'm like, well, did you not just ask them to make the drink that's on the menu? I mean,
Right. It's a standard thing.
I don't. That's the part I don't understand. And
Did you grind the beans yourself?
did you go pick the beans? Did you roast the beans
Carry them back on
your own time?
a mule from the hills of Colombia?
So anyway, that's my bit on tipping. Like I said, let me know your thoughts. Am I way off base here, or are you guys kind of feeling what I'm feeling? So I'll tell you what else has gotten out of hand, Jamie. Every day that we live, it is another national something or other day.
July 7th is no different, Darren.
And I understand that you've taken a look at some of those national days for whatever.
July 7th is about 7 different national days.
Now, before you get into that, let me just mention this. Okay, this week we obviously celebrated a holiday.
Yes.
My wife's birthday is also on the same day, so it's a very special day for us.
And it's called Independence Day, by the way.
Boom, boom, boom. That was my whole point. It irks me to no end when somebody says, have a happy 4th of July. Do you say happy 25th of December?
Right.
We're going trick-or-treating.
Well, some people do. Some people do.
Well, yeah. I can't wait till the 31st of October when we go trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Happy
31st of October.
Oh, gosh. On the 17th of March, we're going to wear green, but it's Independence Day.
And I get it. I mean, we've, for whatever reason, it's become the 4th of July. I get it.
Well, sure.
I don't know how that happened, but it's that whole watering down of how that all came about.
I totally agree.
And it's just happened. It's not just lately that it's happened. It's happened for a number of years. But the whole reason we celebrate on the 4th of July is because back in 1776, some guys got together and said, "Hey, Great Britain, we're not gonna
take
yes,
it."
exactly. We're not gonna do your bidding anymore, and we're gonna do our own thing."
Well, so you've seen some. These are real, by the way.
Yes.
You've got a whole list of.
You can look themselves up for yourself if you would like to. Among the things being celebrated on July 7th,
Okay, let's hear it.
World Chocolate Day. I'm not opposed to World
Right.
Chocolate Day.
Right, but I mean, so in all these days that you're going to mention, my question is what do you do on these days? So in this, do we go out and buy chocolate, eat it, celebrate it? I mean, just I don't know what.
Whatever you feel, I guess, as long as it involves chocolate. But if you don't like chocolate, there are 6 more days you can celebrate.
Okay.
Okay, so it's up to you. It's just whatever you got.
All right, what's next?
Another good one involving food is National Strawberry Sundae Day. I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, I am
All
too,
right,
but I mean, who decides? My question is who decides these?
I really don't know. That's something I haven't found out. I just happened to look to see what was on the calendar today, and that's what it was.
Well,
I have no idea how they declare these.
Well, happy National Strawberry.
Well, thank
Sunday Day. Can you mix it with the chocolate? Day.
I think you should.
So
I think you should put chocolate syrup on that strawberry sundae, and it'd be like chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah.
Sundae.
All right. So what's next?
Anyway, another food item that we were celebrating today is macaroni. It's National Macaroni Day. I like a good helping of macaroni and cheese.
Okay, but I mean,
I have no problem with that.
National Macaroni Day.
Yes.
All right. What else?
It's National Father and Daughter Take a Walk Day. You can do that.
I mean, yeah.
You can do that today
Thanks.
with both daughters.
Okay. Fair enough.
If you choose not to do that, or if one of them declares that they don't want to take a walk with you, then you may need to partake in Global Forgiveness Day, which is also July 7th.
Global Forgiveness
Global Forgiveness Day, yes.
Jamie, I'm sorry.
As am I, Darren.
Do you forgive me?
I'm sorry there's so many days we have to talk about. I forgive you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
And, you might need to talk about Global Forgiveness Day if you celebrate one of the other days that we are celebrating on July 7th, and that is National Dive Bar Day. Forgiveness might be in order on a number of levels.
Depending on what you do.
Depending on what you do at that dive bar. Even
Right.
going in the dive bar might require some forgiveness on some levels, and I'm sure it would.
National Dive Bar.
Yes.
Okay.
But the most important day, I think, outside of the food and all the other things, is July 7th, for some reason, has been named National Day of Rock and Roll.
I love it. Rock on
Yes.
with your bad self.
Rock on.
Now, what do you do?
I think,
What's the
well,
best way to celebrate National Rock and Roll Day?
I think because it's National Rock and Roll Day and we're kicking off the show today, I think that we might talk about some song lyrics and maybe
song lyrics.
maybe talk about some bands.
Song lyrics are, and we got 10 minutes left in the show today. Song lyrics, obviously they're very important.
Yes.
Okay, a lot of song lyrics say things that we don't really pick up when we're singing along with radio or
You're blasting
Right.
blasting your car.
right. So, I think now would be an appropriate time to do a segment that we've been wanting to do here on this show called Dramatic Lyric Reading.
And a lot of people can probably appreciate this because sometimes you just can't understand, just like you were mentioning. Sometimes you can't understand what a song is saying. You have to go look up the lyrics if you're really curious about it.
Okay.
There are songs that I didn't understand for years until someone opened my eyes to what it was actually being said. I was just sort of singing along something that was unintelligible in the car with it and going on. But we've all done that.
So let's try to do something here. We're gonna turn it over to Jamie Carnes now as he entertains us with dramatic lyric reading. Jamie Carnes, take it away.
In celebration of National Day of Rock and Roll. This is from the Manfred Mann's Earth Band catalog. Most of you know this bit as Blinded by the Light. Blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce. Another runner in the night. Blinded by the light. Madman drummer bummers. Indians in the summer with a teenage diplomat. In the dumps with the mumps as the adolescent pumps his way into his hat. With the boulder on my shoulder, feeling kinda older, I tripped a merry-go-round. With this very unpleasing sneezing and wheezing, the calliope crashed to the ground. The calliope crashed to the ground. But she was blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. You get the picture. Some silicone sister with her manager, mister, told me I got what it takes. She said, I'll turn you on, sonny, to something strong. Play the song with the funky break. And Go-Kart Mozart was checking out the weather chart to see if it was safe outside. And little Early Pearly came by in his curly whirly and asked me if I needed a ride. Asked me if I needed a ride. Whew. That gets pretty intense.
Dramatic lyric reading. Jamie.
And I don't know. That's
That was worth my time.
a lot of songs might be pretty good done like that, but I don't know. That was just the first one we thought we would try. And if you have ideas for songs that we could dramatically read or read dramatically, then by all means suggest those. We'd like to keep it clean if we could. So
Yeah.
nothing nasty. But let us know what you think.
Yeah, definitely. Email us, editor at edmonsonvoice.com if you would like to suggest one of your favorite songs. And Jamie, I'm going to say that no, I don't think there's anybody that could do a dramatic lyric reading any better than what you just did right there.
Well, it all depends on the material. Now, you have the right song, you can have some fun with it.
I agree. I agree totally.
I'm sure Manfred Mann's Earth Band never felt like that Bruce Springsteen's lyrics there were worthy of being movie announcer voiced, but did my best there.
Well, first of all, you show me this lyric sheet. I've never seen so many lyrics in a song.
Yes. Well, Springsteen used a rhyming dictionary when he wrote that. He sat down in his room and pulled out the rhyming dictionary, and that's how he put it together.
That's a lot of lyrics right there, man. But I think Bruce would be proud if he may watch this show.
I hope so.
I don't know. I've never run into Bruce Springsteen.
This won't make him as much money as Manfred Mann did.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But still, pretty impressive. So we have a segment here that we don't really have time to get into it like we had intended. We've only got about 4 minutes left here. But this is something I think we want to pick up the next time, and we'll let the people at home kind of think about this because this is very interesting. Recasting major movie roles. So you take your favorite movie, and let's
Forget
say,
the actor that plays
Right.
the lead role.
So you and I were talking earlier, and you mentioned Forrest Gump.
Well, I got this. I have to give a shout out to Mr. Wynn Caudell, our friend, our mutual friend. He and I were talking today about this, and we thought, and somehow it got brought up. Well, who do you put in the role of Forrest Gump if it's not Tom Hanks? And he threw out John Travolta. I was like, what? And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that could actually work. I mean,
Now,
if you think about it.
Right. Well, so there's a couple different ways you could look at it. You could look at it as, this could seriously happen, like you're
Yes.
talking about. Or you could come up with something preposterous.
It could just be stupid.
Right. It would be hard to imagine Christopher Walken as Forrest Gump.
Yes. Or Paul Rubens. Yes.
Yeah. So if Christopher Walken was Forrest Gump, that's completely different.
That's a whole different vibe.
Right.
But now John Travolta's been a sweat hog, so he's kind of got that simple vibe. He can do that kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean that's a neat idea. And the whole reason we began talking about this is because I watched Gone with the Wind last night. It was on Turner Classic Movies or something, and we were talking about how the fact that they, I think Gary Cooper turned down that role, the Rhett Butler role, because he said he thought it would flop.
Good call.
Let Clark Gable, bite the bullet on that one.
Right.
And that the rest is history. But I think who do you get to play Rhett Butler? I mean, besides Clark Gable, I mean, it's already imprinted in everybody's mind.
Right.
That's who it is. Just like Tom Hanks' Forrest Gump.
Right.
But if you could switch it around, be interesting to hear some ideas about your favorite movies and
I agree.
who they might star in a new version.
So if you've got ideas there at home, or wherever you're watching this program today, or some other day, if you got some ideas, shoot them at us.
We'd like this to be an interactive show.
Yeah, exactly. So the same as, could Arnold Schwarzenegger be Han Solo?
That's
Han.
Hans. My name is
Chewie.
Hans.
Chewie, take the professor in the back and plug him up.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
So I don't know. So if you've got any ideas of whether it's ridiculous or whether it's serious, we would like to hear from you. So, Jamie, that's going to about do it for our first Friday show.
Where'd the time go?
It went pretty fast.
Yeah.
So maybe this won't be as difficult as I thought it might be. I didn't know really how we would get in a groove, but I kind of like how I had fun doing the first show.
Yeah.
And so let us know your comments.
We hope everybody else has fun too.
Absolutely.
It's just all it's about. We're doing this
entertainment. Have a little fun, talk about some silly stuff, some entertaining stuff,
and we'd like to hear from you and see what you think is fun or add to the conversation. That's all this is, really.
That's right. You can find Jamie on Twitter at JOscarJr, JOSCARJR on Twitter. You can tweet us at the Edmonson Voice, at Edmonson Voice. Hey, give us a call at the office here, 270-597-6550. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, as we just said. YouTube, of course, that's where you're watching this program. And, of course, EdmondsonVoice.com. And you want to do it again next Friday?
Sure.
May as well.
May as well.
Happy Friday. Happy July 7th. It's National World Chocolate Day, Global Forgiveness Day, National Dive Bar Day, National Macaroni Day, Strawberry Sundae Day, National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day, and, of course, it's National Rock and Roll Day.
That's right.
Thank you for watching, and, of course, visit EdmondsonVoice.com. Edmonson County's #1 source for local news and info. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.